So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining today. This is a customer-focused webinar, so it's only for Acumatica customers of Actions. We do try and bring some value back to you and to our customers. If there's any topics or any thoughts or suggestions on how to spend this time, things that you maybe want to see that we haven't seen scheduled yet. We do have kind of a diverse set of things we've already done, but always looking for feedback and always looking for new ideas and suggestions for our next webinars. I know we have a couple of new ideas that we're going to be scheduling here very soon. One of them is going to be on financial reporting, and the other one's going to be on taxes. Taxes being, how to do it manually, and then also some options for, doing it in an automated way. So a couple more topics that we got in the hopper that are coming up fairly soon. We also did, if you want to go back and look at prior webinars that we've done for our customer base. We recently did one on customization best practices. That was a very well attended webinar. So feel free to go to our YouTube channel under Action, and you can find recordings of that too as well. So next slide, please, Scott. Got just a couple slides we're going to go over for before we get to the good stuff. Scott Smallback is going to be presenting our topic today. Just wanted to kind of remind people about your options for support. We have options. We're always here to support you. There's a link on our website on Aktion.com where you can go and get support. You'll be identified as an Action customer, an Acumatica customer when you call in or log a case. We're here to help you with or without a support agreement, but we do have agreements that we could possibly assist with also. And your sales rep would be the right person to call about that. Acumatica, Action is a very strong participant of the Acumatica community. We want to, invite everyone who is using the Acumatica platform and the software application to come and be part of the community. Also, lots of good stuff, lots of good content, places to ask questions, places to get support, places to get education. That's all in that one place at Acumatica in community.acumatica.com. I guess we always like to remind people about product lifecycle. Acumatica is a SaaS application, so it keeps moving forward, and it has a pace to it that's a fairly quick pace. We do have beginning, middle, and ending dates for each of the releases, and getting behind too far, you're missing out on a lot of great new content. That's lots of new features come out every time a new release comes out of Acumatica. So you want to take advantage of those as whenever you can, whenever you possibly can. But getting behind is also, there's a penalty for that. And I guess we want to make sure that everyone knows that there's a penalty for getting behind, and want to be here as your partner to help keep you upgraded. Make a plan with your consultant or your sales rep to keep your system upgraded to the latest releases. Next slide, please. And we'll turn it over to Scott with that. Just a couple slides, I promise, and that's it. I'm going to turn it over to Scott, and he can take over and kind of go through our CRM presentation for today.
Thanks, Bob. That was a good introduction. My name is Scott Smallback. I'm an Acumatica application consultant here with Action Associates, and we're going to today take a look at CRM, and not so much as like a demo, which you maybe have seen. If not, we certainly have those available, like Bob was referencing on the YouTube channel there, where we're just to go through a straight demonstration of the CRM functionality. But I wanted to kind of step back a little bit and talk about overall CRM, the life cycle of CRM, kind of the process within Acumatica of how that information is stored, to give some context, and then we can look at the application as well and kind of dive into to some of the features. But one key thing with Acumatica is that it's a complete solution for the accounting side, for taking care of all of your needs related to all your financials, but then it also has the ability to be leveraged for a complete CRM platform that, from a marketing perspective, from the sales management, lead management, and then all the way through to post-sale support with case management, customer service and management components as well, that are all kind of part of that customer relationship management piece of Acumatica. And so we see just in this high level here where, right from the beginning as a prospect, Acumatica has built within it, a full suite of, marketing, campaign functionality, and as well as the ability to integrate with things like HubSpot or MailChimp or Constant Contact, those different types of e-marketing services that are available today, within, bringing those leads into Acumatica to start their journey from, that raw lead, maybe it's from a trade show, and you've imported that in through, through the import scenario in Acumatica, through the whole lead process. If you have lead development, marketing staff that are doing lead development to get those leads, identify the ones that are ready for sales. There's that whole workflow built into Acumatica, and then through the process of identifying a specific opportunity, selling and closing that deal, which is going to tie into sales quotes, for example, or project quotes, as the case may be for your organization. You win that opportunity, go through, and now you're transitioning on to that customer and sales order, and taking care and delivering the product or service to your customers. And then once it's once they're an established customer, now Acumatica is also able to be leveraged for that ongoing customer support. So using case management, you're able to handle those customer service types of inquiries and issues that need to be resolved. And again, because Acumatica has all that in one platform, it makes great efficiency to utilize Acumatica to handle that customer service component as well. So whether it's an issue with a billing or a shipping issue, or product damage, or whatever ongoing customer service related issues your organization handles, Acumatica is able to handle that as well. This is if you've attended any of the past webinars that we've done, we've really focused in on a specific piece of functionality and dove right into a demo and race through to show, here's how you do an inquiry, or here's how you do a dashboard. But I did want to take one step back, because quite often there's some confusion related to the, under the covers a little bit of, how the different, how a customer and a lead and a business account, how those are all interlinked. And the fact is, you start off with a lead over here, and it is a lead as a separate item. So that's just where we've got this a list of leads that have come in through our marketing efforts or our trade shows or whatever the case may be, where we have these leads that we need to qualify. And through that qualification process, we can assign them to an account manager or an owner. We can schedule phone calls and meetings and record our email activity. And then, basically we're looking to then identify qualified leads that we can then move forward in the sales process. And, and that starts with an opportunity. Now, when you're doing an opportunity inside of Acumatica, we don't yet have to convert them over to a customer, create a business account. We're able to identify that sales opportunity, work that sales opportunity, and if it moves forward far enough in the process that we're going to do a quote, for example, then we'll go ahead and we'll create what's called a business account. You may be, as you're using Acumatica today, you may be very familiar with customers and vendors, and if you're dove into kind of the relationship of customers and vendors to business accounts, you'll already know that a customer or a vendor or just a business account by itself all actually have a business account record in the system. And that business account then starts off as a prospect. We've got our opportunity, we're able to do quotes against that prospect, and then we go ahead and we convert them to a customer at the correct point along the process as fits within your guys' workflow. But even once they're a customer, or they're a vendor, or they're a customer and a vendor, which they can be, there's still that underlying business account level. And so, on the accounting side, your accounting staff is generally going to work with those customers and vendors, and not so much at the business account level. But from a sales perspective, the salespeople and sales staff will still utilize that business account as the main entity that they're working from. So they're not necessarily going to that customer record that you may be familiar with. They're working at that business account level, and we're able to still see, from the business account, all the different opportunities and contacts and relationships that that particular customer has worked with. But it is still a separate area in the system. So it'll have its own generic inquiries. We can have our own dashboards associated with, sales versus operations and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of take a second to, to kind of break that down, because quite often, as you start talking about, CRM, you've been up and running with Acumatica for a while, you're using it just great with the financials and sales operations and sales orders and processing invoices. And then you introduce CRM, and it can be a confusing discussion, just understanding, what is a business account versus a customer versus a vendor. So hopefully, by just kind of breaking it down a little bit, I know it's not as exciting as running through a demo, but I hope that's given you some clarity into, kind of the underlying process there. We've got leads. Separate from leads, we have a business account that's going to start off as a prospect. At the correct point in your guys' sales process, they'll become a customer, or they can be extended as a vendor if that's the appropriate role for that particular business account. All right. So with that, I'm going to switch over into Acumatica, and let's just start to look at some of the functionality within Acumatica as it relates to CRM. And if you've ever been to any of my particular webinar presentations, I always take a second here and just reinforce that Acumatica has a very extensive set of training materials out here on the Open University, and even for for any of the areas we're talking about. But if we go through the course catalog, we're going to see we've got service management, CRM marketing operations, CRM sales operations, CRM support operations. A lot of good training material here, on Open University as well. So that's always a good resource to to utilize with Acumatica. All right. So I'm just going to the marketing workspace here, kind of as the introductory, kind of starting point within Acumatica. And it's an area that generally doesn't get talked about in the demonstrations we do for CRM. We generally start off with leads, moving those leads forward to opportunities, doing quotes off of that opportunity, and then, converting that to a sales order. But I did want to take a second and just make sure that everyone's aware that Acumatica has a marketing workspace, and that's where you can come in and manage the various marketing campaigns that your company is dealing with. And they don't have to be completely, all the activity around the marketing campaign does not need to, be actually executed in Acumatica. So if you've got, this could be a trade show, and you have all the activities around that trade show entered here on that particular marketing campaign, or it could be a mass mailing, or it could be an e-marketing campaign. And Acumatica does have the ability to manage, those outgoing e-marketing campaigns, or as I discussed earlier, you could be leveraging another service, out in a third party e-marketing campaign tool to send out those particular emails. Then we go ahead and drill into this pay-per-click marketing campaign. And what we see here is, some details about it, the start date, the end date, and then some of our budgeting and things like that we're, that we can see under the planning on the campaigns details tab. And then the statistics, now we're able to go out and see how many leads did we generate, how many opportunities did we generate based on this particular marketing campaign, what's our value coming back. And so, here at this particular one, we're looking to, to get $72,000 worth of sales out of this particular marketing campaign. You can see as it's worked through here, we've generated 63 leads so far. We've converted 3 of those, and then we've got 3 opportunities from this particular campaign. if I go to the activities, this is where right now this just has one activity, but this is where you could have all the different activities around it. So if it's a trade show, you may have things like getting the space reserved, getting the particular tables and things like that, equipment related to that campaign, getting the different collateral as far as like things that you need to get printed or tchotchkes that you're going to be handing out. All of that can be set up here under activities, so you can really have an overview of how that's all being completed. If anything's overdue, you can get it taken care of, and all of that, just like activities on any other entity within Acumatica. And then here we see all of the people who we have identified that should be members of this particular marketing campaign. And so we can set whatever criteria is relevant to this particular campaign to say these are all of our contacts or leads that we want to be included in this particular marketing campaign. And then if this campaign is generating outside leads, we can see all of the leads that have come in based on this particular marketing campaign. And then we'd be able to see where they came through, how they came in, and then drill into any of the particular leads and see what's been happening with them. And then, of course, once we've converted that lead and we have created an opportunity, here we can see the actual opportunities that have been generated through this particular campaign. And if I drill here into an opportunity, a little bit slow with the sharing on the webinar. Sorry about that. Here we see all the details around the particular sales opportunity that came from this campaign. So, we can, again, as users of Acumatica, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of classes within Acumatica and how you've set up product classes and vendor classes and customer classes. It's going to be the same exercise implementing CRM, where you'll identify lead classes, types of leads. Maybe you have particular types of sales, some that are in particular categories, or maybe you have product sales, and then separately you have service type of leads and opportunities. And so getting that, that's just the same process that you would go through as far as figuring out your customer classes. Here in the CRM tool, we're doing the same thing with lead classes and then opportunity classes. And so in this case, this is a product sales opportunity, and here's a couple other opportunity classes that have been configured, partner sales or services opportunity. And this is a way now that we're able, through reporting or dashboards or other analytics, to really get and be able to break down the different types of opportunities and how each of those are performing within that segment. And so in this case, we're talking about a product sales opportunity. And then inside of the opportunity class configuration, you're able to set up a set of stages that an opportunity moves through. And so this is just the out of the box prospect qualification, solution negotiation, and then winning the opportunity. And so you as a customer are able to configure these stages as part of the administration of opportunity classes, and specify for each type of for each opportunity class, you can have the correct stages that make sense for that particular type of opportunity. And then from a forecasting perspective, we really leverage that estimated close date, as this is the date that we expect that we're going to close this opportunity. So now we're able to, on a dashboard or on a report, we're able to show, for a particular salesperson or for a sales manager to see an overview of the activity within this particular, month or quarter. We can show the forecast of, how these are progressing. And what's nice about that is you're able to tie, based on the stage, under the opportunity CRM info here, you can set up a probability that's related to the particular stage that it's in. So if I move this to a solution stage, you'll notice that the probability now has moved to 40%. And if I go ahead and put in an amount for this opportunity of $25,000, we're going to see now that 40% of $25,000 is a $10,000 weighted value. So if I have 20 opportunities that are forecasted to close in May, then I would go ahead and be able to say, okay, I've got these 20 opportunities. The total value of them, is $500,000. But based on the weighted probability, I expect that we're going to close 600,000 of it, or whatever the calculation is for for the actual records in the system. So the tool can really be leveraged if you're able to really get a good and this gets fine-tuned over time, a good probability based on the stage as you work through the various opportunities that you encounter. This becomes more and more useful as a forecasting tool to really see where you're going to be at in a particular period. One thing that's really nice about opportunities versus like a business account, if I'm a contact and I'm on Aktion, Aktion Associates is my business account. I'm a contact on Aktion Associates, and all the contacts under Aktion Associates are linked to Aktion Associates. But here at the opportunity level on the contacts tab, I'm able to add additional people into relations here. I can have all types of different people related to this opportunity as makes sense based on their role. And so we can have various roles here of different people that are related to this opportunity. So depending on the type of organization, let's say that for a particular opportunity, maybe you have an outside attorney that has to be involved, or you have another contractor that has that's involved in the opportunity. You're able to have all those different vendors or contacts related here at the opportunity, so you can see all of the all the people that are involved here. But then where this even becomes more valuable is now maybe you're meeting with a vendor and you're able to come back and say, you guys were on these various opportunities, and you can kind of talk about the successfulness of those opportunities, where maybe because that maybe that vendor has a particular reason why maybe they're not winning, as you're not winning some of these opportunities, and you're able to kind of address those as you're able to look through the system and see how those relationships are maintained. So a very powerful piece here is being able to have all the various relationships associated with the opportunities. If you saw here, I went ahead and I just manually put in an amount on this particular opportunity. That's one way, especially early in an opportunity where maybe I know, hey, this is going to be about a $25,000 deal. I can hand type in that manual amount right there. But additionally, if I go to details, this is where I can now come in and I can add the various line items to this particular opportunity, and actually then put in a product and a quantity, price, and that extended price comes out. Now I go ahead and I can remove that manual amount, recalculates the system, then recalculates the total based on these line items. So there's kind of two different ways to track the value of a particular opportunity. Either you're leveraging out the line item detail, or you can go ahead and put in that manual amount, whatever is the most appropriate for for you. And then once you get to the point that you actually want to provide a quote, then you go to quotes here, and now that's going to take us, it's going to let us do either a sales or a project quote, and then I can go ahead and create and review that quote. And now once it's a quote, now it's moving through your standard process that you've already established, within Acumatica for fulfilling the various orders that you have. At that point, if this quote then ends up becoming getting approved, it turns into an order. And now on the opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and go through the workflow where, you saw how this opportunity here right now is in this new status, but up here on the action here, I can go ahead and click open to convert that to an open opportunity. Maybe I'm doing, what will end up happening is you'll have your business process will determine, kind of like, a new opportunity. Maybe that's one where we know if it's new, it's been assigned to the salesperson, and it stays in that new status until that salesperson actually comes in and opens it. And that's a way now where we could say, using either a business event or a dashboard, we can say, hey, what are all of the opportunities that we've assigned to a particular salesperson that they haven't actually even opened yet? They're still in that new state. Maybe having the salesperson open them lets us know, hey, they've acknowledged that they've received this, they're working this opportunity, moving it through the various stages. And another tool that behind the scenes that really comes into play here is that as I move through the various stages in the opportunity, Acumatica is tracking how long the opportunity has been in a particular stage. So another place where we can drive automation to say, hey, if they're in the the discovery phase or stage for more than a week or a month, or again, it's all based on your particular sales process, then let's go ahead and send a notification to the salesperson or to the sales manager, or let's update this dashboard widget to reflect that so that it's bubbling up the information from the system. The users aren't having to go in and find all these different exceptions. The system's automatically then presenting the records that need attention to them. And we'll look at a dashboard here in just a second once we walk through completing this particular opportunity. So we created the quote. We can see that quote right here. Maybe we've converted it to an order. So we can go ahead and mark this opportunity as close and won. If we lose the opportunity, we can certainly go in here as well, close lost, and you can see again some of the other action items that we can take here, where we can, just from here, we can create a quote or a sales order or an invoice, schedule an activity, all the various things so that we can do with an opportunity. And you can see different things are going to be highlighted and enabled or disabled based on where this opportunity is at in the sales process, the status of the opportunity, and things like that. So just like other areas of Acumatica, another key thing is that this UI is going to be very familiar to your users of Acumatica. Even though we're looking at opportunities and leads and talking about different types of information, it's still presented in the same way. The generic inquiries work the same way. The details of the individual records and workflow are all going to be very familiar. I'll go ahead and say close and won. And now we've walked through and completed this opportunity. We can pick and again, all these drop downs configurable through the system, but we can say that we had a good relationship with these guys, and we've gone ahead and we've won this opportunity. We can take one more update of the stage here, and then go ahead and close win it. And you'll notice now that we've won it, all this top detail section has become read-only. So if I needed to make any changes to this, I'd have to go ahead, open it back up again, make the changes, and then go forward. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of this window here. And I'm going to go now take a look at, we've talked about, different things that we might put on a dashboard. And I did want to show here a Salesperson Dashboard that Acumatica has just as a demonstration dashboard here for a salesperson. And this is where we're talking about these various cards. Again, we have a good dashboard webinar. If you go onto the YouTube channel, you can watch that, go into more detail about behind the scenes of editing and creating various widgets on the dashboard. But we can see things like, here's new leads that I've received, and here's records that I haven't contacted in the last 14 days. And you'll notice this card is now red, and that's because you can set a threshold where it says, hey, if I have more than 10 contacts where I haven't talked to them in the last 14 days, let's turn that card yellow. Or if it gets over 30, let's turn that card red. So again, the salesperson can just come to this dashboard and see immediately what records need attention, take care of them, make that contact, that number goes down, cards turn green again, everybody's happy because the details are being taken care of. So, and again, here I can see my opportunities. I can see opportunities that are closing in less than 60 days. And then again, here's open opportunities where we haven't done anything in the last 30 days. And that's just because this demo database, we haven't maintained these 10 opportunities. I can come in here to this opportunity. And let's drill into one here that's open. And I can make some type of a change. Maybe we're going to push this back out till August. Save and close. And now let's go back to this dashboard and let's see if we can refresh this. No, unfortunately, that particular record was not one of the ones that met the criteria. These should drill down to the specific records, the 10 records, but in this case it didn't. But I would see this number go down as I went ahead and reached out and updated the activities. Or it could be that this is actually saying I need to actually do an activity like a phone call or a note or an email before it drops down and gets corrected. I can also see this from a sales manager perspective where we're looking at an individual, and now I can see from a high level as a sales manager all the activity around around my team. And then what's, again, a powerful piece of Acumatica is we're not just in a CRM system here. We're in a system that has all the CRM information, but it also has all the financial information. So when we look at things like sales bookings and overdue invoices and things like that, we're actually looking at sales transactions versus just the opportunity information. So again, we're able to leverage all the information that we have about a customer and all their transactions when we're building out the various dashboards, because all that information is in one system within Acumatica. We're not integrated in with another CRM. We're not integrated in with another customer service piece. All the components are within one application. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go to the marketing dashboard here real quick, the marketing manager. Again, here now within this dashboard, we're able to go ahead and have, all of the, all the various, uh, snapshots here of information of activity that's been happening recently. I can see how the various campaigns are performing. I can see what lead sources are really driving business here. And then again, one thing that we haven't gone through, and maybe this would be a good topic for another webinar, would be the use of pivot tables, both in generic inquiries and then also within dashboards. And that's a powerful feature that, probably takes about the right amount of time for a webinar to drill into. So a very powerful piece where we can convert information from a generic inquiry into a pivot table and see that information reflected here in the dashboard. So I know this wasn't like the standard demo that we generally do, but I hope this gave you a little more detail, especially as somebody who's already using Acumatica, of the CRM functionality, as we're talking about the marketing piece, moving through to become a lead, then an opportunity, and then converting to a customer, and then managing through your standard sales process as far as, sales orders, order fulfillment, and things like that. Are there any questions that came in, Lauren, around any of the CRM functionality?
I have not seen any questions, no. As a user of Acumatica, it's been really interesting for me to learn some of this as well, Scott. So,
Gotcha.
great.
Okay, perfect. Well, certainly if you have questions, reach out. As Bob said, we're definitely available. We're more than happy to do, an individualized call, a discovery call related to, what you're currently doing around, sales and service management. And if you're not using Acumatica for those components, we could, talk about your specific requirements. Maybe you're using another CRM tool or another customer service application. So we can kind of dive into, the simplicity or complexity of, what it would take to migrate, from this particular system over into Acumatica, and how closely Acumatica matches, what you're currently doing. Because, the more that Acumatica already, would meet your needs out of the box, the better, adoption and, and ease of adoption you're going to have to migrate, from another application. Or maybe you're not doing anything. Maybe you don't have a formalized customer service, process right now. It's an easy add-on then to add that functionality into Acumatica and start to leverage, the capabilities of the system. Bob, did you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Great presentation. Thank you so much. I think we're, as we said up front, we're trying to give back to the community. I think I can add a couple comments. The one of the real, unusual opportunities about having CRM built within your ERP, I think it's very powerful. That ability to have inventory tied directly to your actual inventory. So when you're adding it to a quote, when you're going through a process, you're getting you're using the one version of the truth as you're doing that. I think one of the other really interesting things is, when you are working through opportunities and you're taking notes, you're attaching files, you got activities going on with calls and follow-ups and feedback, whatever it might be, and you take that over and you make a sales order out of it, or you make a project out of it, you make a manufacturing production order out of it. All those things come all the way through to the rest of the application. I think that's one of the really unique and powerful things about Acumatica, having a built-in CRM. So, if you have CRM and you want to use it more, I think that's part of what we're trying to share with you. If you're thinking about CRM, I think we certainly want to engage with you and understand your process and how we can best fit to be a partner for you and help you through that. I think that's our presentation for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your attention. As always, I think Lauren will send this out in her email. Please give us more ideas and any feedback you have on future topics. We'd love to see that also. So thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.